You know, people often say, a real friend is worth more than gold. And for most of my life, I believed it. I believed that loyalty, trust, and brotherhood couldn't be bought, couldn't be broken, especially not by someone you grew up with, someone you'd called your brother. But I was wrong, and I learned that lesson in the most brutal way possible. I met Daniel when we were just kids. We lived in the same neighborhood, went to the same school, even skipped classes together. He was always there. First fight, Daniel had my back. First heartbreak, he brought pizza and stayed up all night listening. We were inseparable. My family treated him like a second son, and his family treated me the same way. For years, I thought, this is the guy I'll trust with my life. And for a while, I did. Life after school hit us hard. Bills, jobs, dreams that didn't quite work out. But we had each other. We talked about building something bigger, making money, getting out of our small town. It was always us against the world. Then came the opportunity. A friend of Daniel's cousin had this idea, a business venture. Small at first, but with potential. I wasn't exactly convinced, but Daniel looked me in the eyes and said, "Trust me, we've got this. I'll never let you down." I still remember those words. I wish I didn't. We pooled our money together. I invested everything I'd saved over years of working late nights. Daniel, he didn't have as much, but I didn't care. It wasn't about who brought what. It was about building something together. Brothers, right? The first months were tough. Late nights, constant calls, chasing clients, putting out fires. But we were making progress. For the first time in a long time, I felt hope. I thought, this is it. This is where things change for us. But then, little things started to feel off. Daniel became distant. Sometimes he'd avoid my calls. Other times, he'd show up late to meetings, claiming he was busy. At first, I thought nothing of it. He was tired, stressed, we both were. But then I started noticing money missing. Small amounts, barely noticeable at first. When I asked him, he brushed it off. "Don't worry, man. I just had to cover a few things. I'll pay it back." I wanted to believe him. Hell, I did believe him. Because that's what you do when someone's been by your side your whole life. You trust. But trust is a dangerous thing. And soon, I'd find out just how dangerous it can be. The first time I truly felt something was wrong was when Daniel showed up driving a car I knew he couldn't afford. A black BMW, polished, sleek, not brand new, but way out of his budget. I laughed and said, "Man, since when did you win the lottery?" He grinned and shrugged. "Business is paying off, bro. You'll see. Stick with me." But here's the thing. Our business wasn't making that kind of money yet. Not even close. And when I asked for details, Daniel changed the subject, talking about future deals, promising things were about to explode for us. I wanted to believe him. Again, I let it go. Then came the invoices. Clients that were supposed to pay us hadn't. But Daniel always had an excuse. "Oh, I already collected from them. I reinvested it. Don't worry, you'll see it soon." Something inside me started to twist. I told myself it was stress, paranoia, maybe even jealousy because he seemed so confident while I was drowning in doubt. But deep down, I knew something wasn't adding up. And then, the phone call happened. I was at home, late at night, when I got a call from one of our clients. He was furious. He demanded to know why Daniel had told him the business was under my control, and that I was the reason payments were delayed. The man swore he had already paid Daniel in full, months ago. My stomach dropped. The next day, I confronted Daniel. I'll never forget the look in his eyes when I asked him straight, "Did you take the money?" For a split second, just a flicker, his face changed. Guilt, panic. But then he smirked, shook his head, and clapped me on the shoulder. "Come on, bro. You think I'd do that to you? We've been through everything together. Don't let some idiot client put ideas in your head." I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to. But that little flicker, that tiny moment when his mask slipped, it haunted me. After that, things only got worse. More excuses, more missing money, more late-night calls I wasn't included in. And then came the breaking point. One Friday evening, I went to the office to grab some files. Daniel wasn't supposed to be there, but when I opened the door, I froze. He was inside, packing things into a bag, documents, cash, even equipment we had bought together. And when he saw me, his face went pale. That was the moment I knew. My best friend, my brother, the guy I would have trusted with my life, was robbing me blind. I stood there in the doorway, frozen. Daniel's hand stopped mid-air, a stack of cash hanging between his fingers. For the first time, he didn't try to smile, didn't fake his usual confidence. "Bro, it's not what it looks like," he said quietly. I wanted to laugh, not because it was funny, because it was pathetic. He had lied so many times that the words came out of his mouth automatically. Not what it looks like, I repeated, my voice shaking. You're literally stealing from me, from us, from the business we built together. He dropped the cash into the bag and zipped it up slowly. His eyes, once so familiar, looked like they belonged to a stranger. Cold. Calculating. You don't understand, he said. This was never going to work. You still think people get rich by playing fair, by following the rules. Wake up. Everyone's out for themselves. I just accepted that sooner than you did. It felt like someone had punched me in the chest. This was the guy who used to share instant noodles with me when we were broke in college. The guy who promised me we'd build something great together. And what about me? I asked. What about our friendship? That mean nothing to you? Daniel sighed, almost annoyed. You're too soft. That's your problem. Always worrying about loyalty, about trust. That's why you'll never make it big. People like me, we take what's ours. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I wanted to hit him, scream at him, drag him out of the office and call the cops. But I just stood there, my fists clenched, my whole body shaking. Then why keep me around? I asked. He smirked. Because you were useful. Clients liked you. They trusted you. And trust me, trust is the easiest thing in the world to exploit. I just had to stand next to you, and the money flowed. That was it. The final nail in the coffin. The boy I grew up with, the brother I trusted with everything, was gone. All that was left was a man who saw me as a tool. I took a step toward him. He didn't flinch. He just looked at me like I was already irrelevant. Walk away, Daniel said coldly. Forget this happened. If you try to stop me, I promise, you'll regret it. My heart pounded so hard I thought it might burst. I had a choice. Let him go and lose everything, or fight for what was mine, knowing it could destroy me. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. The person who had the power to hurt me the most already had. I didn't move. I just stood there, staring at Daniel like I was seeing a stranger for the first time. His words echoed in my head. Walk away. You'll regret it. For years, I had trusted him with everything, my money, my future, my loyalty. And now he was standing in front of me, daring me to let it all go. I'm not walking away, I said finally, my voice low but steady. This business is mine as much as it's yours. You're not stealing it from me. Daniel tilted his head, a slow smirk spreading across his face. Then you're dumber than I thought. Before I could react, he shoved the bag of cash into the corner and stepped closer, his face inches from mine. His eyes burned with something I'd never seen in him before, pure greed, mixed with a cold kind of rage. You think loyalty matters, he hissed. Look around, man. People are vultures. They'll eat you alive. I was the only one willing to show you the truth. And this is how you repay me. I clenched my fists, my whole body tense. No, Daniel, this is how you repaid me, by stabbing me in the back. He laughed. Not his usual laugh, the one that used to make everyone in the room smile. This laugh was hollow, mocking, cruel. Fine, he said. If you want a war, you'll get one. But don't think for a second you can win. I know everything about you, your weaknesses, your fears. The clients trust me now, not you. If I take this business, I take your life with it. His words cut deeper than any punch ever could, because I knew he was right. He knew too much about me, about how I worked, about my plans. If he wanted to ruin me, he could. I swallowed hard, fighting back the fear crawling up my throat. Maybe you're right, I said. Maybe you know everything about me, but you forgot one thing. He raised an eyebrow. Oh yeah, what's that? I know you too. The smirk on his face faltered, just for a moment. Enough for me to see it, the crack in his armor. He might be ruthless now, but deep down, he was still Daniel, the boy I grew up with, the boy who hated being alone. And I realized then, his greed wasn't strength, it was desperation. But before I could say another word, his phone buzzed. He pulled it from his pocket, glanced at the screen, and his expression changed. His smirk vanished, replaced by something I didn't expect. Fear. I stepped closer, trying to see what was on the screen, but he locked the phone immediately. What was that? I demanded. Nothing, he snapped. But his voice cracked just slightly. And for the first time since this nightmare started, I realized something shocking. Daniel wasn't just betraying me, he was hiding from someone else. The fear in Daniel's eyes lingered longer than he probably realized. I'd known him my whole life. He could lie to anyone, but not to me. His hand trembled slightly as he slipped his phone back into his pocket. Who was it? I pressed. I told you, nothing. His voice was sharp, but that crack was still there. I shook my head. No, Daniel, you're hiding something. And if you're scared, then whoever's on the other side of that phone must be worse than anything you've ever done. For a moment, silence filled the room. Then Daniel exhaled, ran a hand through his hair, and finally admitted, I owe someone a lot. More than you can imagine. My stomach dropped. What do you mean, oh? He met my eyes, and for the first time that night, The smirk was gone. What I saw instead was the boy I used to know, broken, cornered, desperate. I borrowed money to start the business, to make it look like we were winning, even when we weren't. They wanted it back with interest, and I couldn't pay. I froze. All the pieces clicked together. The sudden new car, the missing client payments, the late nights. This wasn't just betrayal. This was survival. Daniel, I whispered, who did you borrow from? Before he could answer, there was a knock at the door. Hard, sharp, final. His face went pale. They found me. The room went silent again, except for my pounding heartbeat. Another knock followed, louder, more insistent. Open up, Daniel. A voice called from outside, low, cold, and terrifying. I looked at Daniel, and for the first time, he looked smaller than me, powerless. He whispered, if you open that door, we're both dead. The doorknob rattled. My chest tightened. Whoever was outside wasn't going to wait much longer. You dragged me into this, I said, my anger boiling over. You didn't just betray me, you put my life on the line. Daniel's eyes filled with something I never thought I'd see in him, tears. I'm sorry, he whispered. I thought I could fix it before you found out. I thought I could keep you safe. The pounding on the door grew louder. Last chance, the voice growled. And in that moment, I had to decide. Do I stand with the man who betrayed me, or do I walk away and save myself? I looked at Daniel one last time. My best friend, my enemy, my brother in everything but blood. The door handle twisted. The last thing I remember before the world exploded into chaos was Daniel grabbing my arm and whispering, run.